Alright, what's up YouTube? So, I'm just going to go over my wiring system, kind of give an update on like what I've done so far. So we'll kind of start at the throttle body intake. So this is the ACES EFI kill shot, and it has a wiring harness that plugs into a remote ECU that'll be mounted elsewhere. There is the wideband O2 sensor, so you need one of those. I have a spot in the turbo downpipe to put that in. This is the CTS, your coolant temperature sensor, that gets plumbed into the ECU as well. You have the 7-inch display, which is a CAN module, and this will show like all my gauges and everything. This is actually what's allowing me to delete my dash completely, so I don't need the speedometer or the odometer. And if you can see right here, there's AC in, V main, rev, nitrous in, fan 1, fan 2, tack in, coil negative, PWM, I believe is what that is, and then VR. So I'm only going to be using the fan 1 and 2 to control grounds on my dual radiator fan setup. And you need to have the tack in from the coil negative, which you can see goes over here. And it has to be on, because of the way I'm hooking up my electrical system, it has to be from the trailing coil negative, or else it'll show double the RPM because I'm doing a double fire wasted spark setup. So that goes to the negative on the trailing coil. And then we go back to the ECU throttle body system. We have battery, which I might just end up remaking that to kind of go and hook up to here in the diagram. But you'll have your fuse and your main relay, which the main relay will power all of this. And then you have just always on battery, which I believe is for the memory for the ECU, so it holds the or this ECU right here, so it holds memory for your tune and everything, so you're not relearning after every single time you turn the car off. And so I have 3 fuel pumps, so you'll see there's 1, 2, 3. So this is my lift pump, which is going to go to my surge tank, and then I have 2 400 liter per hour Holley fuel pumps that'll be powering my fuel injectors, which there are 4 1050cc injectors in here. I'll kind of show that later on how I'm hooking that up, but that's the wiring for it. At least I'll have one relay that'll turn on a relay for each one of these, because each one of these, well, at least the Holley ones, I have to check the lift pump, but the 2 Holley ones, they can draw at a maximum of 30 amps depending on voltage and resistance. It shouldn't be too much because I'm not going to be running crazy high PSI, only 43.5 PSI on each one, so I'm hoping the current draw will be low, but I'll read that and see what we get. So now, moving on to how I'm going to be controlling my ignition system. You can see right here I'm going to be using an MSD 6AL, and eventually I'd like to be able to hook it up so I can run launch control, and I'll do like a line lock launch control system from the MSD wiring. But you can see there's a red wire which goes down here. That is the 12 volt switched ignition. So I'm going to hook that up to the actual OEM style fuses. I'm going to make my own fuse box, but it's just nice to keep the original diagram. So you see the ignition fuse, probably 10 amp, I'm guessing. I'll double check before I wire anything up though. And then go back to the MSD. You have your orange and your black. So the orange is your positive. I believe it's positive, yeah. So the orange wire is your positive to the coil, and then the black is the negative to the coil. And we're running two leading blaster twos. So it'll fire, every spark plug will fire with every revolution. So one will be wasted and one won't be. It's just a very easy, simple way to hook this up, because we're still keeping the original distributor right here. So it's an easy way to kind of convert it to a more powerful system that doesn't have issues with it has the ability to charge up and fire, whereas the original ignition system, it doesn't. It has a hard time keeping up. And then this is an important part. So this is your negative and your positive on the igniter for the magnetic pickup on your distributor here. So the violet, which is your positive to the MSD, goes to the magnetic pickup green wire. And this is I'm gonna have to take this apart. And this is the actual igniter wiring that plugs in. So I have to undo the igniter, and then that magnetic pickup will be used as like basically it's like think of like a Hall effect sensor on a cam position sensor that uses that for firing. So the green wire will be your positive, which is your violet on the MSD, and that'll be wired into the distributor itself on the leading coil pickup, and then the green on the MSD is the negative, which will go to the red on the igniter pickup. So it's kind of weird how it's like green is not green. It needs to be like super important to keep that. You don't want that firing out of order. And then we'll kind of just move on to like the system over here. So we got marker lights, park lights, headlights. So I'm keeping all of those. I might get rid of the marker lights. Depends. I don't know if I really need them legally, and I don't know if I like the way they look. But we'll see. It's easy to take them out. But you have you have your red and green and your green orange, which is your high and your low, and then your black for ground. You got your red blue and your red yellow. Or I'm sorry, this is the blinker and park lights, and then this is your headlights. So you have your high beam, low beam, and ground, and that'll all be powered back here by a switch on beam select right here. You can see this is. I'm going to keep the original beam select and all the hazard directional, like the original on the stock of the dry steering wheel, just because it looks nice. You could hook up easily your own custom kind of race car style, but I kind of want to go with like an OEM plus style on this car, I think, because I have most everything, and the interior looks really nice, so I want to keep it. And one thing that we're going to have to do is, so here's your headlight, and then you go down, and here's your retractable headlight motors. So each light has its own retractor motor, and then this is powered by a relay, which if you go over here, should be, nope, that's your retractor headlight switch. The relay, here we go, is the control relay. And so this is kept original to the stock diagram for now, but I'm going to probably go through and switch it up so I can have control over each one individually, just because I like to be able to wink and do silly stuff. But let's go to, where's my, okay, alternator and regulator. So the alternator on this is pretty easy. You got your black and your white red. So this goes to the battery. So your white red is your big one that goes right directly to your battery. And then you have your black white, which I believe it goes to the light. Let me double check. That goes black white goes to, that is, yeah, so that's power, and then you go up black white to, and that'll go to, oh, did I take it out? Oh, that's your ignition switch. That is the power, and then you'll have a lamp which goes to your white and black. That will go to the lamp. You need the way that these alternators work is they need like a current draw, like on, you'll typically have like a light. Some will have like an internal like regulator system, like an internal relay to basically break the magnetic field and get the power flowing through the alternator. So you have to have a light hooked up. I'll do my own like little LED. You have to wire in a resistor and stuff. If you do LED, it might do incandescent. Not sure. But you have to have the light indicator in order to get the alternator to actually start charging your battery. So, and since I'm getting rid of my dash and I'm putting in the 7-inch display to control everything, I'm gonna have to wire something up. I'll figure that out as I go, but it's pretty easy. You'll want like usually you'll want a diode to prevent backfeeding into your system too, onto the positive. Not the battery positive, but the on positive, 12-volt source. So we have our backup light switch, which is super easy. I'll just have that control relay to the back lights, and then you have your stoplight check relay, which this is like hooked up to the parking brake, brakes, stuff like that. Pretty easy. The fuel pump right here is the two black and light green wires that are powering the fuel pump, but I'm going to be completely revamping this to my own system. I'll have it click on, which you can see up here. I don't know where there's a little module right here, but the fuel pump is orange, I think it's an orange wire technically, but the ECU will kick on all of the pumps. I'm not sure how I want to do it, if the lift pump and the two main pumps can come on at the same time. I'll kind of figure out or if I should stage it. We'll see. Shouldn't be too big of a deal, but have your I'm still going to keep heat in the car. I have no rear window defogger, so that's going to be gone. I don't have washers, so that'll be gone. I do have the wipers still, so I have to fix those. The wiring connector was corroded beyond use. Key buzz, I don't know. I think I'm probably just going to get rid of that. Horn, obviously you need the horn. Directionals, alternator relay, so most of this will stay. Some of it will be deleted, but and you have your retractor headlight, you have a horn switch, so you have all your hazards, directionals. So this is kind of what the whole car will be wired up to look like, which is much simpler than originally. Which if I can turn off, let's see merge visible, and I'll turn this off, and you can see here. This is what the okay, so you can see here. Let me zoom in. This is the original setup. So you have coolant level sense. You have your hot start motors, your hot start relays. You have all sorts of stuff. Diagnose connections to read fault codes. You got your clutch solenoids and relief solenoids, all the vacuum stuff, heat sensors. Like, it's crazy how much these old cars can actually have on them. And this is a completely manual car. I don't have power windows. I don't have any of that stuff. But you still have all of this. You have the combo meter and all of these things. It's a headache to go through and wire, but I'll kind of do a flip here. So we'll merge visible, and you'll kind of be able to see the difference in the amount of wiring and the complexity. And I'll have a much more reliable system too, because I'll be able to monitor far more things, like oil pressure. I'll be able to monitor that live, and get an actual readout with a low dollar motorsport 5-volt sensor. I'll get dome pressure for the turbo. Like, it'll be much nicer, but you can kind of see very substantial difference. So yeah, I mean, that was just a quick update on kind of my wiring schematic. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions or anything. I can kind of help in the comments. Cool. Thank you.